pleasure to welcome you all on the second webinar series called Digital Forum, an initiative of Media Value Works and MSME Business Forum. Our idea here is to discuss with the subject matter experts, touching these subjects which are very important for entrepreneurs in the MSME space to capture on to thrive in the new normal. We are extremely privileged and delighted to have an extremely uh, important set of guests with us. And I would now welcome Nirbhay ji, who's our director at MSME, also a former employee of Genpat and then a manufacturer now with a business running in Mohali. I think as a very important board member at MSME Business Forum, Nirbhay ji, over to you to take the forum forward. Thank you, sir. Great.
Thank you, Nirbhay, and good afternoon to everybody who is logged on to the call today. It is indeed a pleasure and a privilege for me to be able to attend this particular deliberation. This deliberation is very important, not only for the MSME sector, but for the country as a whole, and I would say for the world as a whole, because if you look at even all the other countries, it is the small and medium business, the micro, small, and medium business enterprises that really form the bulk of the labor force that people are occupied in. In India itself, we have more than 70% of our formal and informal labor associated with the MSME sector, the formal sector, as well as the informal MSME sector. And there is a huge informal MSME sector that is also present in our country, and so true in most of the emerging economies. But at the outset, I'm extremely glad to be invited to this August forum with very distinguished people who are on the panel. And I want to thank Mr. Ravi Sinha, Ms. Rachana, as well as all the others who have invited me so graciously for this particular event. I also hope that everyone who is attending this conference on a Saturday on 26th, which is generally the time when you wind up, relax, as the end of the year draws to a close, and we are in a festive season of Christmas and celebrations of various illustrious birthdays like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, which was yesterday, Ramanujam, whose birthday was on the 22nd. These are all great innovators, great people who have contributed tremendously to this country. So we are in that celebratory phase the last week of the year, and I am very appreciative of the fact that we are all connected together today because of this digital medium to be able to deliberate on this topic. I do hope everyone is safe and healthy in spite of this difficult COVID-19 circumstances. As all of you are aware, the COVID-19 has been a crisis which is quite unprecedented, not only for our country, but for the rest of the world. But what the COVID-19 crisis has awakened in us is the tremendous challenges that lie ahead, not only for our country during this COVID-19 phase, but in a post-COVID-19 world. There are many, many challenges that are there because of COVID-19. It has disrupted supply chains across the world and across our country. It has created national lockdowns, the effects of which have been quite devastating, especially to the migrant community who have migrated from various tier 2, tier 3 districts of our country, rural India, to the tier 1 cities in search of in their livelihoods. It has created tremendous grief to lives and livelihood across the country, as well as it has created a fear of uncertainty, a fear of what is ahead in store for us in the years ahead. Not only due to this COVID-19 crisis, which needs to be resolved quickly, but also in a post-COVID-19 world, there are many challenges that is going to come across. This crisis has actually triggered nationalistic fervors in many countries, and therefore disruption in supply chains or focus on local growth, as a result of which we may find ourselves to become more and more self-reliant and self-dependent. And that is why the Honorable Prime Minister's clarion call for an Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India, an India which not only is able to provide for itself and for its masses, the teeming masses. We have 1.3 billion people in our country, so that's a large country by any standard. But also we are one of the largest democracies of the world. And when you are largest democracies of the world, and when you are having a democracy and when you're having a large country, the opportunities for freedom of expression, the freedom of thought, the freedom of action, the freedom of innovation is tremendous. And therefore, there is also a great opportunity that all of us have together, collectively and individually as a nation as well as individual demographic dividend. A dividend that is the envy of many a country. We have more than 65% of a country under 35 years old. We have 1.4 million plus schools in our country. We have 10,500 engineering and related institutions, and we have 39,000 colleges. We have 150 million young people who are going to be entering into the workplace over the next 5 to 10 years. Now, if you want to leverage this demographic dividend advantageously for the transformation of our country and for the growth of the country from a socio-economic point of view, we have to empower our young people with the tools, emerging tools, with the technologies that are changing the shape of the world, the landscape of the world because of affordable, accessible, available, and